God never made an ugly landscape. All that the sun shines on is beautiful, so long as it's wild.
I'd like to welcome everybody to the John Muir Birthplace Museum. My name's Duncan Smith. I'm chairman of the John Muir Birthplace Charitable Trust that own this building and work in conjunction with other trustees to operate it. And I'm also chairman of the Friends of John Muir's Birthplace, one of the goals of which is to support the work of the Birthplace Trust and provide volunteers for this museum. The ground floor of the building is basically where John Muir's father had his grain merchant. And the area we see here is essentially the shop. And just behind here is the living area. So essentially the Muirs lived in a very small area. They didn't live on the middle floor or the top floor. Those were other families. As you can see, the foyer and the reception area is a small shop using locally made goods and Muir books and Muir memorabilia, maps of the John Muir Way. We're at the end point of the John Muir Way here, running from Helensburgh to Dunbar for 134 miles. And if you complete the John Muir Way, then they can fill in your completion certificate here. I'm passionate in terms of trying to get Muir's life and legacy to more and more people. His written word is inspiring, his life story is inspiring, and we need that sort of inspiration to inspire current and future generations. What we have here is talking about Muir's kith and kin. Gives you a brief story about Muir's mother and father and his siblings, and also the connection to John Muir in terms of the Gilryes, who are actually buried in the parish church here, and you can visit Muir's grandparents in terms of their graves. So as we move on, we talk about Muir's grandfather helping him learn the alphabet and numbers by taking them round the shops and pointing out the letters on the signs in the shops and the numbers on the townhouse clock. One of the major exhibits here on the ground floor is about John's grandfather, David Gilrye, and how he encouraged Muir's love of nature and instilled that love of nature in Muir. One day when John and his brother were doing the homework in front of their grandfather's fire, John's father came over to break the news that they were going to emigrate to America in the morning. And of course that was devastating for the grandfather. And as the story unfolds, we see here David Gilrye gave each of the boys a gold sovereign as a keepsake, and John would never see his grandfather again. So the middle floor is about John's emigration to America, where he lived in America, what he did in Wisconsin and various other places he lived. And then the top floor is about John Muir's legacy, and essentially giving the history of the establishment of the National Park Service. So this is John Muir as a boy. We don't exactly know what he looked like as a boy, but this is a sculpture by the 1997 Ukrainian artist Valentin Znobo, and it was installed on the High Street to commemorate John Muir. The building itself was purchased in 1999. We've really just given you the merest glimpse of Muir's legacy. This building inspires people through its contents, through the story it tells. And the visitors to the birthplace, when they write in the visitor book, write about the inspiration and how wonderful and awesome their experience has been. And it's very humbling and gratifying to see the efforts of the likes of Dunbar's John Muir Association, the Friends of John Muir's Birthplace, the Charitable Trust that operates the building, how we've managed to summarise Muir's life and legacy in a building and in such a way that it actually inspires people. Now, we've only just skimmed the surface of Muir and his legacy. We hope you will come and visit the museum and spend some time here learning more about Muir, his life and legacy. And we'd welcome you to Dunbar.